My boss decided to cancel my Christmas vacation. I quit because my family comes first. My parents brainwashed me from an early age that confidence and hard work would add countless zeros to my salary. I remained optimistic, even while getting 3% raises year after year and working on a holiday. I missed my children's first steps, their school events, and other important life moments, just to bring in as much money as possible for the CEO. After my stepfather died, my boss called me at the funeral and asked me to fix the problem while my mother cried on my shoulder. That's when I told myself I'd had enough. I changed companies and made a promise to myself to put my family first and my career third or fourth. Fast forward to now, I have become a key member of our department. Many of our clients' processes are automated through custom apps that I have developed. I maintain a detailed library of documentation on API support and operation. I offered to train someone so that the work processes would not be tied only to me. My manager said, "No way. We will never do anything to make you leave us." So far, my life has been wonderful. In early December, ABC was audited by the government and they were found to be in violation. They hired my firm to get everything in compliance by the end of the year or face fines of around $750,000. ABC was slow to give us the information we needed to get started. I always take a week off between Christmas and New Year's. I spend this time with my children, making up for all the time I spent at work when they were little. This time with my children is priceless to me. Last week and this week I notified the project manager and my manager about my vacation. I said I needed the information from ABC company so I could start work. I offered to work overtime to get my part done before Christmas Eve. On Tuesday, my manager calls me and says ABC company has finally sent the data I requested over 2 weeks ago. He looked dejected because he knew exactly what was going to happen. I told him who I needed to brief on the project. I was on holiday after Christmas, and my manager responded, "I'm so sorry, but I have to ask you to come to work. I've turned down your holiday next week." Asked what would happen to my vacation days. The boss said, "Sorry, you know the rule. Use it or lose it. I fought for you, but HR wouldn't budge." I drafted a resignation letter after the call and set it to be sent on Monday at 8 a.m. ABC will pay $700,000 in penalties because no one knows how to program this system because I don't have a replacement. Our other clients will be expecting their monthly, quarterly, and annual reports the first week of January. Nobody knows how to do this. We had 6 projects in development. Now these projects are stuck. 7 clients have paid in advance for API upgrades and automation in Q1 2022. I don't know what will happen to them. Please remember, family comes first. You can never get that time back. Author's comments on how the fine could affect ABC company. ABC company may not learn anything at all. For them, a fine of $700,000 is a drop in the ocean. And they will not just pass it on to their clients or deduct it from the bonus pool. Judging by the contract, my company may violate its terms, but I am not a lawyer, and I do not care. I need to think about The Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit trilogy, which I plan to watch with my children. They have never seen these films. On the author's contribution to the company's work, what's funny is that every time I wrote an analysis or forecast, the management made a decision based on it and ended up in a better financial position. When the pandemic came, I suggested immediately switching to remote work to avoid infections, and this was implemented immediately when I showed productivity had increased across the company. The business did not renew the lease and went completely remote. When the business wanted to help small companies, I offered 3 options. I negotiated the deal myself, and these companies grew by over 400% and are breaking sales records. However, this time they did not listen to me and may go down the drain. I understand business in terms of whether we are a small or medium-sized company. Before that, I had a great relationship with the manager. The CEO helped me move to a new house. I understand the impact my resignation has on the business, and it weighed heavily on me. Our client is a large company, and large companies are slow to provide data and information, and they operate at their own pace. I was willing to discuss working half days if someone would help me, or if I could be allowed to move my vacation to spring break so I could spend it with the kids, but they didn't offer me anything. They just said, either use your vacation now, or lose it. For the record, my wife fully supported my decision. She said, I'd rather lose my house than my family. It made me realize I was doing the right thing. My oldest son is 9. And this will be only the third Christmas I've spent with him. The first 6, including the very first, I had to work. All I have are videos and photos from those holidays. I miss both my son's first steps, their first words, and their first Christmas. That time will never come back. No amount of money will make up for it. About the scheduled sending of the letter, I ended the call with the manager evasively, but set the letter to be sent on Monday at 8 a.m. I didn't want his holiday weekend to be ruined. I want to state for the record, I never agreed to work next week. My manager said I had to work next week, that I would lose my vacation, and apologized, wished me a Merry Christmas, and ended the conversation about the documentation the author left behind. It's funny, I tried many times to teach other people my process. My manager thought, you're not going anywhere. It's a waste of time. But I documented my work 100%. Here's an Easter egg. In my documentation, if you go to the application, you'll see troubleshooting. Then the section damaged files, CSV, TXT, XML. It describes how to roll back the environment to the previous state before loading. Then you need to load the correct CSV file. Then there is a step-by-step guide on how to update everything back to the current status without hanging requests. Let me remind you what happened. The manager informed me that I would have to work a week between Christmas and New Year, despite the fact that I had an approved vacation in July. Our new client was threatened with a fine for non-compliance with the legislation after the audit. Requests for data necessary to start work were ignored until the last week before Christmas. I chose family over company and quit on the Monday after Christmas. From the Monday after Christmas, the manager began using various manipulation techniques to change my mind. The CEO of the company helped pressure me. At the same time, another client sent a corrupted file, and the department processed it, which caused an entire reporting line to fail. The company had a mandatory uptime clause in the contract, which caused panic. For every hour the reports were unavailable, the company paid a fine for every report. I offered various solutions to help the company cope with the problem, but my proposals were rejected. Throughout the day, the manager and CEO bombarded me with calls and messages. One of my colleagues found my documentation and got the reports working again. Later in the day, he was given disciplinary action because he was responsible for processing the corrupted file and did not find the documentation faster. He told me that the manager, HR, and CEO spent the whole night looking for evidence to justify the penalty. I advised him to update his resume. The total downtime was 16 hours. Around 3 p.m. I received a call from a new number. It was the client's business manager, the liaison between the former company and the client. I explained the delay in getting the data before Christmas, despite numerous requests, losing a full week of paid vacation, told of a flood of calls and messages, and that I offered to come back to help her company. The business manager told me a different story. The manager and CEO had called her earlier and told her I had quit and was holding the project hostage to negotiate more money. I explained that this was not the case and I was not trying to go back. After seeing how the company treated their employees and after how they treated me after I left, I had no desire to go back there. The business manager asked what the terms were, salary, signing bonus, etc., and I would be willing to go back to my former company. She said she would call back in an hour and asked not to respond to any more messages from the manager or CEO. Message from CEO. The business manager called about you, told you everything he thinks about you. Message from manager. I bet, business manager, make you pay this fine personally. Business manager called me back on conference call and asked what you need to complete this project, software, data, etc. I give her a list of everything she needs. Answer other questions about the project. She says, here's the plan, we'll offer you a contract to finish this API by the end of the year at double the hourly rate you asked for. If you can finish by 12/31, we'll give you a bonus. After the new year, we'll look at our staffing situation and maybe find a place for you, but no guarantees. Especially if the project doesn't get completed. Deal. I agreed to their terms, I said, to put everything in writing and that I could start as soon as I got a virtual machine. The business manager replies, no problem. The lawyers checked the contract, and there is a clause that if your former company is unable to fulfill the obligations they agreed to, we can transfer it to a third party and bill them. I just need them to officially state that they cannot complete the project, and we will bill them for your work.